All right, session 3, my friends, on the mini detox series. And this is detox and recovery. And why is it that detox is so important after recovery? My friends, I tell you, I've been there, I've been through it and out the other side and back again. And it is so important that we detox. If you have experienced substance abuse or addiction in your life of things that you take into your body, even things that you just experience, because our brains are wired, right? And they get wired and they get turned on by whatever it is that we're choosing to be our fix at that time. And so when we come out of that space in our lives and we are in recovery, what we're doing is we're repatterning and we're reprogramming our actions, our behaviors, and our brains. And so with detoxification of the body, what we're doing is we are literally flushing out, we're getting the sewer system going a little faster, and we are allowing cellular rejuvenation to happen. When we allow cellular rejuvenation to happen, that is tapping into every system in our body. We think the integumentary, it's a really hard word to say, that system of the body is our skin. And our skin, I'm someone that has struggled with problem skin throughout my life. Teenage years, acne came on, and adult acne has been over and over again. And in fact, it has been since my recovery that I've had some of the strongest reactions in my skin. And now after studying detoxification, I completely understand why. Because my skin was like, there's all this toxicity in my body that's trying to get out and trying to find some place to go. And it bumped into my skin because my kidneys were too busy. Or my liver was still, is weak. I'm not going to say was weak because it probably still is, because alcohol was the substance that I played around with too much, let it get ahead of me. And so when I come back to starting to flush all that stuff out, or before I knew of flushing that stuff out, just when I halted the substance use, my body started to try and flush it out. And I was having crazy rashes across here, so much that I'm now scarred. And these scars didn't come from a time in my life that I was, doing something bad or not taking care of myself. It came after, when I actually was taking care of myself, but I didn't know what was happening and why I was getting the back knee and this chest. I don't even know if we call chest knee. That doesn't really sound right to me, but back knee makes sense. But the acne that comes out on the different parts of our bodies that can also be hugely hormone related. And so are the hormones related to detoxification. So it's just one system that we're working with here for all of these things. And so after recovery specifically is what I'm talking about, detoxification after recovery. Why it's so important is because the things that you're doing on the detoxification can help support the release of those toxins. And what I'm primarily talking about are foods and herbs. So when those toxins were starting to come out of my body after I quit drinking the alcohol, what is alcohol? For me, it was wine. So what is wine? It's grapes, a large amount of sugar, and which in detoxification, I did a 4-day grape flush, which was super awesome. So I'm a big fan of grapes. And I think that they're probably grapes and blueberries are the two most powerful natural whole food sources on our planet. I think we could live amazing lives just on melons, grapes, and berries. However, with the lives that we have in the modern world today, that's not much of a reality for many of us, even though I had a glimpse of it maybe being for me last year that I could go frugitarian. There's just no way in this lifetime that I want to live just on fruits. I just don't want to. There are too many yummy things out there that in this human body I want to be able to experience. And it's going to be a while that I still continue to detoxify the toxins that I took in the first 43 years of my life. And the period that I drank alcohol more intensely in those 5 years. There was a 5-year period that I really drank wine every day, most of those 5 years. I know the last 2 years at least, but that was a lot of wear and tear on my inner organs. And so what was happening with that time of the substance abuse and the alcohol wasn't necessarily the greatest eating habits. And especially after, when I first started my recovery, I didn't have a lot of money at that time in my life. And I was buying food at, the Lucky's grocery store or Safeway. I would buy the 5 for $25 meats. And those meats are coming from slaughterhouses that, I'm sorry, that the energy is transferred. There is a transference of energy in how something is treated, and it dies. If we're choosing to eat that dead food, I do still eat meat, but we choose to eat that dead food. But if there's been energy, trauma, serious trauma, which is what happens in these large meat facilities, it's horrifying. Please watch the documentary Hope with Jane Goodall if you care, if you're interested in really a true picture of what this looks like. Then you'll understand when I'm talking about this transference of energy. And so I actually go as far as seeing this energy even transferred to my cats at the time. I had 2 cats and they were getting older, and I was buying the cheaper food for them also. And their hair got really matted. They weren't outdoor cats. And I remember my little Tabby just had mats all over his body and had never been matted in his life before. They were both short-haired cats. How did they get mats? Well, I started feeding them food that I hadn't before. I was just buying what was cheapest and what I could at the time. And even for the animals, often we eat more than we need to. And so at one point, when my cat was 16 pounds, they got quite fluffy there in their midlife stages. So I just say that because some people may say, well, I can't afford the more expensive pet food. Make sure that you're feeding the right portions, because sometimes you realize you might be overfeeding them, and then you could stretch that and be able to afford something that might be a little healthier for them. I will say in the last 5 years that even the pet food companies have really become more mindful in their ingredients. And so this is all shifting just the more we start having these types of conversations around it. But specifically with recovery and detoxification, if you are new in recovery, I suggest reaching out to a detoxification specialist if you want to learn more about it. If not, doing some research online and just seeing how you can integrate daily detoxification into your life with teas and other things, or really go down a detox path and starting to, do the steps to either get into a detox plan, or like I said, just do the baby steps and start to incorporate one thing at a time in changing your diet, as well as bringing in new things to help you flush out daily. And so those things I talk about are starting your day with lemon water, something that's tonifying and really balancing the pH in our systems. Eating fruits, berries, and melons. These are very detoxifying. And being mindful of food combining, because you don't want to just eat these foods with other foods and think, oh, I'm having some pizza right now, so I'm going to have some berries and that's going to help me detoxify the pizza. That's not necessarily how it works, because there is a process that our body digests certain things faster than others. And so these fruits, berries, and melons are at the fastest level, and that some can take as little as 30 minutes to 4 hours to process and go through our sewer system and flush through our body. And so what's happening is that those berries, grapes, and melons aren't causing our body to do the extra work to break them down. And so it's allowing our body the time to do some work over here, meaning flush out some toxins that have been stored for a while. And so you want to give at least 15 minutes front and back, optimally an hour, of eating fruits and berries and melons. Melons especially should always be eaten on their own. fruits and berries can be tossed into salads, and you can definitely do food combining in that way. They can be combined with proteins without any problem. Next, we get to the legumes and pastas. There's like this middle breakdown area, and they take a little longer for the body to digest. And then meats can take up to 48 hours to digest in our bodies. So that's a huge span there. We're going from something that takes maximum 4 hours in the fruits world to up to 48 hours in the meat world. What's happening in the middle there in our bodies? That's 2 days of stuff going somewhere and doing something, sitting and breaking down, trying to break down. And if you have any other ailments going on, if you're suffering with arthritis, that's the next video. But if you have, I talk a lot about the cysts in my body. Well, my body, if it's taking 48 hours to break down some meat, then it's probably not working on the sludge around that cyst or the plaque under my skin, that's been stored that we're trying to flush out. And so that is so important that we can start to just nurture our bodies a little more, and knowing all the hard work that they do in allowing us to live with greater vitality, because this is really what it's about. This, for me, is all about vitality, because the greater vitality that we have, vitality is energy. Vitality sustains us into being able to live longer, which hopefully we are living happy lives. And that means more time to connect with those that we love and do the things that we love doing. It all comes full circle. And so this is why I'm really geeking out on this detox thing right now. And it's why it's so related to the space that we live in. I couldn't separate the two. In the last couple of years that I've been studying this, I just don't see them as separate. Our space holds us. What we do in that space is supported by the space we're doing it in. And so what's out here in our living environments is what I'm referring to as space. It's also this in here, the space of our bodies. What's happening in here affects what we're doing out here, right? It's full circle. And so when you've been through recovery, congratulations to have made it here. And I want to support you in making it wherever it is that you're wanting to go. And detoxification is a great way of getting there, because not only does it clear out all of these little, can help, doesn't always, and I won't say anything as an ultimatum, but it can help just clear the cobwebs and maybe any of these little skin ailments, the spots or the cysts or the acne. Instead of our skin releasing these toxins, we will release it through the right passageways. We don't want things coming out of our skin. Don't touch your skin. If you're breaking out, leave that spot, start drinking some tea, and it will go down. I've watched it. I used to be a picker myself, and it doesn't help. That's how I got the scars on my chest after recovery, when it started releasing a lot of the pharmaceuticals that I had started with in recovery. I've now been 3 years pharmaceutical free. It's also a big part of why this is so important to me, is because I needed to find different ways to manage my anxiety and depression. And I was gratefully able to do that. And this detoxification is just next level on all of the things. I promise you, it will introduce a brightness in your life that you haven't experienced before. And I can make that promise, because I can't say it's going to happen tomorrow. But if you stick with the detoxification program, you will start to sparkle like you never have shined before. It is so awesome, because not only are we clearing these little spots, we're clearing emotional clutter, we're clearing things that get stuck in our myofascia. As we start to move more, our bodies start to release trauma. It goes that deep. It really does, my friends. The trauma that we experienced when we were abusing, whatever it was, has stored a lot more than just that substance and the impact that it had on our bodies. If you're like me, You may have experienced some real emotional distress. You may have experienced trauma that runs deep, memories that you don't want to surface again. And my friend, this is a reality of detoxification. It's something that is referred to as the healing crisis, because as we begin to cleanse, we surface things that have been stuck. Things get dislodged, and you may go through a period of real intense emotions. It happened to me in the 4-month detox, and it's also happened to me this past summer where I did a lighter detox and just working with teas and having my primary foods that I eat regularly. And I could recognize it wasn't necessarily hormones, but it was something deeper, that it was engaging me to start to make different choices because I was remembering the patterning. And when we've been patterned and programmed into a lifestyle that we've led for a certain amount of time, even when we stop, it just doesn't go away the next day. What we've experienced is with us. We're holding it within our skin, within our heart, within our minds, within our subconscious. It takes time to heal emotionally, and detoxification is another tool to get you there faster. It truly is. There are a lot of things out there today saying that they can heal this emotional trauma, and I encourage you to try things on for yourself and to be safe, to make sure that you do the research before you try alternative remedies to healing. And if you want one way as a starting point that is gentle and natural, choose botanicals, choose herbs, choose healing foods to help cleanse all of it, because the other side really is sparkly. It really is a bit brighter, and it gets brighter day by day. I hope this helps you on your path. And again, from my heart to yours, congratulations for being in recovery. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to help you. Take care.